Thank you for signing up to take my 4-week Foundations Dog Training course. This is a self-study course. So what that means is over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be sending you some videos, articles, homework, and different training things just to kind of help you at home, whether you're just starting out with training or maybe you're revisiting the basics, which is really important for all of us to do from time to time to really clean up our training mechanics and build a solid foundation for further training. So welcome again, and thank you so much for joining me over the next 4 weeks. Feel free to email me questions. If you want, you can even send me videos of you doing the training exercises at home, and I'll be more than happy to provide my feedback. Yuri is here with me, and he's rolling around in the background being silly as usual. Yuri, you want to say hi? Hey, here he is. Good boy. You're pretty heavy, Yuri. I'm not used to holding you. So I'm going to be using some different dogs over the next 4 weeks. Yuri is one of them. Yuri is an English Cocker Spaniel. I've had him for, I think, about 2.5 years now. And he's a good boy. He can be a little silly, and he is great fun to train. He's very food motivated. He's very clever. He likes to work, and he likes to learn. So he'll be really fun to watch. And you'll also meet my other dog, Max. And we have some other dogs that might make appearances as well. So week 1 is all about the basics of you get what you reward. So the theme of week 1 is you get what you reward, and you're going to find out exactly what that means for teaching new behaviors, but also solving behavior problems. So let's jump in. Okay, so the first exercise we're going to start with is just the basics of marker training. When you're training with a marker, you're using something, some kind of signal, noise, or hand gesture to tell the dogs exactly what they did to earn a reward. So what you see here is I'm using the sound of a clicker to mark behavior. So I'm just doing a click followed by a treat. Now the marker is always followed by a reward. You wouldn't want to click and then not feed your dog, because then this will really dilute the results of the marker. So right now I'm not asking for any behavior, I'm just showing you how to charge up your marker. You can use a clicker, or you can use a word like the word yes to mark behaviors. So the first thing you want to do is practice by just clicking and then feeding, or saying your marker word and then feeding. Try to keep the food somewhat out of sight at this point. And also try to keep your hands pretty still. If you're using a clicker, you don't want to point it at the dog or use it like a remote. Instead, you want the dog to really listen for the marker to happen. So you can see my hands are behind my back. I have the food and the clicker in one hand. I click and then transfer that treat to the feeding hand, and then I feed. It's very important to get your mechanics down. You want to be able to train in a very clean way that the dog is understanding your communication, you're getting the food to where you want it to be, you're clicking at the right times, and this all takes practice. So you can just practice this without really trying to train any specific behaviors, but just practice handling the treats, handling the clicker. You can do this with the leash in your hand, or you can do it off leash. I highly recommend practicing both ways because it definitely takes some getting used to. So go ahead and give it a try. If you have a clicker, you can pick that up and practice charging it up, letting your dog know that the click means a treat is coming, or you can use a marker word. So what you want to do is put your lower value treats in your bait bag and have some high value treats in your hand ready to reward your dog. When working with food, it's important to teach our dogs how to be polite and have good manners around the food. They should never be pushy. They should never be just grabbing the treats from the treat bag, and they shouldn't be trying to steal treats. So remember, you get what you reward. If I lift the treat bag a little bit and I shake it around and Yuri ignores it and pays attention to me, he'll earn a click and a treat. You want to click the exact moment your dog does what you want. So when he looks away from the treat bag, that's when I'm clicking. Any calm behaviors can be clicked and rewarded at this point. So as long as your dog isn't jumping up, getting pushy, trying to steal the treats, you can click the desired behaviors. This is a great foundation for teaching your dog how to work around food when you're going to be using food to train new behaviors. They can be excited about it, but they should be relaxed and wait for you to give them the food. There are different ways to get your dog to perform behaviors. Now that your dog knows how to be polite around food and they know not to steal food from your training treat bag, you can train your dog using luring. Just like when we trained your dog to be polite around the food when it's in the bag, you should train your dog how to be polite when following a lure. Your dog can learn to follow food in your hand, or you can train your dog to follow a target. I'm using a closed fist, and I train the dogs to follow the front of my hand, so no matter which way I turn my hand, they'll keep their nose to it. They shouldn't be pawing at your hand, and there should be absolutely no teeth on your hand. They're following in a very polite and gentle way. This takes some practice. Before you use it to train behaviors, teach your dog how to follow a lure. Train your dog to follow the lure in a straight line, spin your dog in a circle, and get your dog used to this before going on to the next steps.
Good boy.
These are just a few other examples of how you can train using you get what you reward. So winding your dog up, getting them excited, playing with a toy, doing things that might trigger them to jump or become overly excited, and then rewarding them for keeping all fours on the floor. Remember to start out easy, so don't do something that's going to encourage your dog to make a mistake. Start out slowly and then increase the difficulty as your dog starts to understand the game. You're rewarding the behaviors that you want. If you want your dog to stay on the floor, if you want your dog to be calm, those are the things that you should reward. Here's another example of a common trigger. Some puppies and dogs, when they're pet around the neck or when you go to reach for the collar, they might get a little mouthy or they might move around or get excited. So practicing reaching for the collar and petting them and then clicking and feeding when they're calm. Another thing you can practice using You Get What You Reward is taking their harness and collar off and putting it back on. If your dog gets really excited when it's time to go outside or go for a walk and they see their harness and they start spinning around and getting excited, you can practice teaching them how to be calm for this. So I just take the harness off and then I hold it up and I'm going to say that you're doing a really good job when you're calm. That's what you earn a click for. And then just putting it over the dog's head and clicking if they're calm. Slapping it away with the paw doesn't work, so we want calm behaviors. And you can do this for many areas in life. Reward desired behaviors.